Salem County Courthouse right here. And if you can stand for the invocation of the CFO Hannigan and pledge allegiance.
Gracious God, we ask for your blessing upon all gathered here tonight in our Salem County community. We are grateful for your guidance in making the decisions presented before us. Please hear with special attention each of us open our hearts. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated.
Adequate notice pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given of this meeting by forwarding notice to the South Jersey Times and Elmer Times Company, and by posting notice in the Fifth Street Office Complex and the offices of the Salem County Clerk and Clerk of the Board, all having been done at least 48 hours in advance.
Roll call, please.
Director Laurie.
Present.
Deputy Director Osterman.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Ramsey.
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor.
Yes.
Commissioner Timmerman.
Yes, ma'am.
We have quorum.
Commissioner, what is your pleasure with the minutes for the November 6th meeting?
Mr. Director, I'd like to make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes from the November 6th meeting. Minutes are to be received, approved, and recorded in the minute book.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Director.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. It is with great pleasure tonight. I'd like to introduce our TPO people and the state, and this is a wonderful thing. So if you guys can make your presentation, they promised me it would be riveting.
You made that.
I've already seen it. So the floor is yours.
So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. We are presenting on our county-wide local road safety plan. Some of you may know, but my name is Jennifer Marandino. I'm the Executive Director of the South Jersey Transportation Planning Organization. Commissioner Director serves as a liaison on our organizational board. Our agency, is responsible for regional planning in our 4-county region that includes Atlantic, Cape May, Cumberland, and Salem counties. We provide typically technical resources that extend to our county partners and provide them access to federal funds that they might otherwise not have available to themselves for surface transportation improvements. We're here tonight to provide you with an overview of our countywide plan. I'm joined by our consultant team, Dave Kuhn from GPI and Danielle Bear from Urban Engineers. The local road safety plans focus on eliminating fatalities and serious injuries on your county and municipal roads. The plan incorporates a safe system approach. It is based on 6 principles. I won't go into all those principles, but what I will tell you is I think I'm going to just draw your attention to 2 of them that I think we can all agree upon. Death and serious injuries are unacceptable, and humans make mistakes. So in this plan, those and the other 4 are fundamental values that are the principles that are followed throughout the plan. So we are very excited to be able to present the final document. There are 3 MPOs in the state of New Jersey. We are the smallest MPO, and we are the first MPO that will have countywide plans in our 4-county regions. So super excited to be able to do that. The plan is meant to be implemented, right? Not sit on a shelf, not to sit there with recommendations for priority locations and what have you. It is going to take all of us working together to make a dent and reduce and eliminate those fatalities and serious injuries. Responsibility is shared, so I think all of you would be interested in getting home safely tonight, all of your family going home safely tonight. So again, we all have that role, and with that, I'll turn it over to Dave, and he'll present you with the details of the plan itself.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good evening, Commissioners. So we're coming to you this evening, and we're not prepared for tonight, but we would like to request a resolution from the Commissioners for support for this local road safety plan, as well specifically as the goal for the county of having 0 fatalities and serious injuries by 2050. So that is the action that we are requesting. So just touch on again, Jennifer touched on the local road safety plan. Again, this is an action plan. This plan focuses over the next 5 years on how to reduce fatalities and serious injuries, not all crashes, but fatal and serious injury crashes. And it does that through both proposed infrastructure areas, infrastructure priorities, as well as non-infrastructure behavioral related strategies to improve driver behavior, bicyclist behavior, pedestrian behavior, etc. So this plan, while not funded through the US DOT Safe Streets for All grant, it will be an eligible action plan that will set us up very well for applying for future grants for project implementation or other supplemental planning activities, as well as providing funding opportunities through the other federal highway program called the Highway Safety Improvement Program, which runs through the SJTPO. So it provides some good opportunities for the future for funding. So I mentioned, the Safe Streets for All action plan eligibility requirements. There are 8 components that are required. One is leadership, commitment, and goal setting. That's what I talked about in our action request. Planning structure, so that we have an oversight committee, and I'll touch on that in a moment if we have one. There's a data analysis that's leading data collection analysis that looks at the data, and also combined with that, engagement and collaboration. So it's a combination of both data and stakeholder involvement, and we've done quite a bit of that through the process, and some of you have been involved, and really appreciate that. We also look at equity considerations, making sure that we're considering underserved communities, policy and process changes where in any policy or plan documents, where can safety be included in those documents to better align with the safe system approach that Jennifer mentioned. And then ultimately we come out with strategy and priority location or project selection that are the recommendations coming out of this plan, and then finally progress and transparency. So this plan should be posted publicly online somewhere where anyone can view it, and then also a place to track progress of the plan over the next several years and how it's being implemented. So those are the requirements from the US DOT program for an action plan. Our steering committee, as I mentioned, so John Sieber is the chair. We made our best efforts to try to be as inclusive as we could and get participation on the steering committee from municipalities all over Salem County. So we did that to the best we could, and some meetings were more well attended than others. But John was there, and a number of other people were always there as part of the steering committee process. So I think it was a good representation. This project started back in fall of 2022, and along the way we held stakeholder workshops. We had our first one in January 2023, and then one in the following fall, and then most recently in the June of this year, 2024, and great involvement at the workshops. In fact, I was pleasantly surprised how well attended the workshops were and how much interest there is in developing this plan from Salem County. So that was great. We had a public meeting recently, also well attended, and then we're here tonight for the county commissioner's presentation. And we'd like to have the plan complete next month, and then we can move forward with implementation. So I mentioned the goal requirement. So the goal that was discussed at the workshops and with the steering committee, and ultimately the recommendation from the committee is to have a goal of 50% reduction of fatalities and serious injuries by 2050. So that would take you from 11.6, which was in 2021. And just as a note, 2021 was our last full year of crash data that we had to work with as we were developing this plan, because we used New Jersey DOT crash records, which were fed in from all municipal and state police. So that was the information that we had to work with. So we didn't have any more recent data to work as we developed this plan. But as we move forward, we can look at future data. DOT crash data runs about 2 years behind. So as part of this plan, we tried to zero in on those areas that can make the most difference in reducing fatalities and serious injuries. So this chart shows you crash characteristics based on fatal and suspected injury crashes. And you see across the bottom, lane departure, aggressive driver, drowsy, distracted. So all these characteristics are characteristics that the law enforcement officer codes in when there's a crash. So a crash may have more than one of these characteristics, but we pulled that information together for 2013 to 2021, and you look at where the hits are. Lane departure and aggressive driver are at the top, then drowsy, distracted drivers and intersections. So the steering committee settled on 3 emphasis areas for this plan: lane departure, intersections, and aggressive drivers. And you may say, well, why isn't drowsy, distracted drivers included? And the reason was basically the focus was there, but the countermeasures and strategies that are aligned with aggressive driver pretty much hit on drowsy and distracted driving as well. So it would pretty much address both of those. So we get on to infrastructure priorities. So the selection process, and this is one slide there, I think. So we used a combination. There's 2 kind of methods that we used here as we developed a kind of a priority ranking scoring process for this. So there's one type of analysis is kind of the historic way you look at it. It's called hotspot analysis. So it's where a crash is happening, where are the fatalities and serious injuries happening, and that's the first piece. The second area is where are there crashes out there? Looking at where the fatalities and serious injury crashes are, where are there road sections or intersections with similar characteristics where there may not be a history, but there may be a risk based on those similar characteristics, and that's called a systemic analysis. So we used a systemic analysis and a hotspot analysis, and we had a couple of lists. We had a network screening list, which was all of the top crash locations in the county, regardless of whether they're fatal or serious injury crashes. And then we looked at what was called a high injury network. So where are there fatalities and serious injuries too? So we looked at both of those. And then we looked at our systemic analysis, and we came up with a prioritization scoring process to rank those locations. And we worked through that, and then in combination with stakeholder discussion, because it wasn't only the data, we also talked to the stakeholders about where are their issues and where are they facing problems. We came up with these priority locations. So it's not just what the crash was, it was also what we heard in our discussions at our workshops and the steering committee. So what came out of this is these are the recommended locations that are in the plan. Hook Road in Pennsville Township from Dunlap Avenue to I-295. Clancy-Fryersburg Road, Melway Township, from Moores Lane Swing West Road to Beal Road. Almond Road in Pittsgrove Township from Centerton Road to Centerton Country Club Road. Buck Road in Pittsgrove Township, Harding Highway to Three Bridges Road. Three Bridge Road in Brooklyn Street. Perkintown Road in Oldens Township from Strong's Mill Road to Pennsville Auburn Road. Pointers Auburn Road in Oldens Township from Sunset Drive to Harris Road. Alloway Aldine Road in Upper Pittsgrove Township from Commissioner's Pike to State Street. Yorktown Road in Hillsgrove Township from Commissioner's Pike to Robbins Road. We had a couple of intersections in Salem, City of Salem. Intersection of Reeves Parkway and York Street, and the intersection of Reeves Parkway and 10th Street. Also, intersection of Walnut Street and Weston Street in Salem. So those are the specific locations. So in our systemic analysis and the locations that came up as potential risk locations, we identified what are some potential treatments that could be applied at those locations. And we've identified 4 different types of areas and treatments that could be dealt with. So on 69 segments that were identified, the idea was improve the edge lines from a 4-inch edge line to 6-inch edge lines. And research has shown that visibility improvement helps reduce crashes. We talked about the other recommendations: installing rumble strips, centerline and edgeline rumble strips at 55 segments, installing reflective pavement markers at 55 segments, and installing supplemental warning messages at stop control intersections and better pavement markings at 30 different locations. So I don't have all those locations listed here, but we do have those locations identified. So around the county. So those are the infrastructure priority locations. I'm going to say again, they're locations. They're not defined projects. The next step would be to look at those more closely. What would be the treatments in those areas? How would you address those locations? So those are priority locations. So behavioral strategy areas, so in discussions with the committee and at our workshops, there were several strategies and follow-up actions that were identified as things that could be done to improve behavior. One was using a strategy of awareness and using social media, using student councils and other organizations to conduct campaigns to raise awareness. Also, another awareness through public programs talking about education. This came out, education about the DOT process to fix intersections. What does that process look like? That was brought up, even though this is about focusing on county municipal roads. Education through public programs, and then enforcement always comes up as an area of what can be done to better enforce speed reduction, etc. on the road. So what happens upon approval of this plan? This plan implementation, as I said, would carry through summer of 2029. We understand that locations are subject to the resources that are available to the county and the municipalities and their priority decisions. So these are not in any particular order as they were listed. That's to be determined later. And if there are projects that are in the municipalities, certainly the municipalities can also consider other funding sources for implementing some of those treatments, whether it's through their municipal aid program, etc. Also, as we go into the next year, SJTPO will have our consultant team on board for the next year to assist for that first year of implementation and help to prepare grant applications, support this plan. We expect the steering committee will remain in place, and we will continue to communicate with the stakeholders as we go forward. So again, our action is we're requesting approval of the plan and the goal of 0%. 50%. Oh, 50%. Thank you for that correction. Thank you for correcting me. 50%. Yeah. So.
Put you against others. Atlantic County was the only one of the 4 counties that actually chose the 0 fatalities by 2050. So obviously there's no harm in being ambitious. I think maybe it's a function of me attending that meeting and kind of encouraging them to be ambitious. But your stakeholder committee, like the other 3 counties, or the other 2 counties, chose 50% reduction by 2050. Yeah. And that's right. Go ahead.
Better choose 50 and end up with 0.
Well, yeah. You always want to be positive.
That's right. So that's our presentation. Any questions?
Commissioners, any questions or comments at this point? Everybody got one of these? And
I was going to say, you do all have received a copy.
Right.
SafeRoadsSouthWindy.com is where the plan, all of the details of the meetings and things of that nature are currently residing. You go to SJPO salem.org's website, kind of over
Let's say
60, yeah, you'll be able to find it. So, with the visibility there either way.
But, you're looking for some sort of resolution supporting this at our next meeting.
Correct.
So I'm asking Commissioner, please take this soon, put it wherever you want, to read it, next to the toilet, wherever, and, go from there. Any other questions
Yeah,
now?
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
I was fortunate to go to public presentation, and that was a good interaction. Have the other counties passed resolutions along these lines?
So, the last night was the first commissioner meeting that we had. I think there was a little misunderstanding. We didn't get you a resolution to consider. So at this point, we don't have a Cape May County meeting scheduled as of yet. That would be the only one that potentially does it at the meeting that we're presenting. So Atlantic County, excuse me, I think their intention would be to pass it or to consider a resolution at their next meeting.
And obviously, it's very cold now. I do like to hear it. What exactly does this implementation look like? I mean, we passed this resolution of support. Who makes the decision of what's getting funded, how it's going to be funded? Is that the steering committee? Is that assistance?
So I would use a different word. I don't want to give the expectation that everything will be funded, right? So the year 3 implementation that the county, that the goal is on board for is to continue conversations with the stakeholder committee, could be with the commissioners, whoever wants to continue to participate in that process, and then prioritize or put forward, let's say, whatever priority indication number 1 you choose, right? So they would work with you to put forward a potential grant application, whether that's for the US DOT implementation, which is a very competitive process. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not nothing is a slam dunk in terms of funding. You can also apply to SHPO's local safety program to advance to design assistance, which would allow you to actually put forward plans for preliminary engineering and final design services. So there's nothing that will take you from today to construction in a year from now. There's a process.
Most of these seem fairly simple. I mean, you're not building overpasses and reconstructing roads. So, but how about funding for such things as the behavioral? Because to my mind, behavioral is more important than construction.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Salem County, I don't know the entire process. So in Cape May and Atlantic County, there is a Division of Highway Traffic Safety Office out of Atlantic County that they will assist and help them with grants to the Division of Highway Traffic Safety in New Jersey. That's not to say that your counties couldn't apply for them yourselves. Christine at Atlantic County is kind of going to be liaison for the area. I don't know. There must be someone in this area, right? That I don't know.
I would also add that under the Safe Streets for All program, they also, will entertain planning and demonstration grants. So that may also be an opportunity if there's something you want to pilot, test in a behavioral strategy. That's something that might be eligible under that Safe Streets for All program as well. It'd be a quicker turnaround.
But either way, the county, the municipality would have to. We don't have an application designed for year 3 just yet, but you would have to come back to SJTPO and say you're interested in advancing this behavioral strategy or this implementation of, consideration for an actual construction project in future years. So that's at your discretion. Probably John would be a perfect person to speak to if he's our a champion for your town.
This is not final report.
Unless you have changes.
Oh, okay. You said something about final report next month.
Well, upon approval, so it is the final report as of November 1st. Unless there's an issue, we're going to have to go back to that.
I have a couple just comments. They're not really questions, and I want to get into them, but I see rumble strips. Centerline rumble strips, obviously edge rumble strips. And we put rumble strips in when they first were the thing to do. And we put them in residential areas and quality of life issues truly came up. So I hope the selection of where these rumble strips are not near residents because, these people can't sleep at night and they close on another traffic safety issue.
Yes, so Commissioner, that all of the installations of where we recommended or would still be at your discretion, the county's discretion to
This
install.
is your plan, this is not
Yeah.
JPPO's.
And I noticed on steering committee, there were no commissioners on that. So I thought that, and we had talked to somebody and said, hey, we need to be there. Oh, no, you don't. It's not something for the county or whatever. And it's the head of it's John Seaver.
Yes, he's your champion. So, and if you would wish to, any of you wish to, have a desire, I suppose is a better word to say, to be a member of the Safe Harbor Committee moving forward, at least be involved in the correspondence, we can certainly add you.
You have to cut it with some sort of liaison.
Absolutely. If you have, do you have a name or you want to discuss the name and then get back to me?
Yeah, Ed Ramsey overhead.
Sorry, Commissioner.
Thank you. Just for the record, I was,
Yeah.
Mr. Ramsey was at workshops, he was active participant.
And SJPPO is,
And John did an excellent job.
So John did a fantastic job, I will say, for being a small rural county. By far, we had the most participation at our meeting.
and funding. Thank you for volunteering the SJPPO, funding, help us. They are also redoing, they do a lot of work in Salem County, two new circles at 5 points and 6 points.
Roundabouts.
This week, next week, so.
And we anticipate construction possibly next year for 1 of 5 points and 6 points would be possibly next year.
So right now, it's my understanding that they are renegotiating or in the process of negotiating the fair market value or whatever the appraisal part of the process. They would go, the county would then apply for the authorization of the funds to actually make the recommendation of whatever that number is, $10. It's a lot, probably a lot more than that, but you would apply for those funds, you would get those funds, get a right-of-way clearance, and then you would be able to get your authorization for the actual construction. So it's a little bit of a process, but it is not an impossible process. The county is aware of what.
So currently, that's the next step, is getting the people to agree.
Correct. My understanding is that the consultant for the county, which I believe is JMT, has sent all of those packages forward, and they're just waiting for the negotiations to come back. That's the last I recall of the conversation.
Okay, thank you.
There's no problem.
Thank you very much. Thank you. If you want to take anything down during the meeting, you can't bother us too much. So, what? Sure. Oh, you can't take our equipment. Our meetings, as I said many times previously, we have very riveting meetings. Did a great job. Thank you. Commissioners, correspondence, waiver, do we have a waiver?
Yes, we have one waiver. A7, resolution acknowledging support for its employees in the course of its jail regionalization process.
We motion to waive the rules for A7.
So move, Mr. Director.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Correspondence, General Commission, Committee and Commission minutes and reports. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Director, I'd like to make a motion that the correspondence department reports and committee and commission minutes be accepted, filed, and made a part of the minutes.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Director.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Payment of bills and claims. Your pleasure.
Similarly, sir, I'd like to make a motion that all bills and claims, when properly signed and audited, be paid and charged to the respective departments.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on bills and claims?
Thank you for cleaning that issue up.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous. Commissioners, what's your pleasure on the treasurer's report?
Mr. Director, I make a motion that the treasurer's report be received and filed, subject to audit, and that it be spread full and complete upon the minutes.
Second the motion, Mr. Director.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on treasurer's report? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous. Now going through the resolutions for our administrative committee.
A1, resolution to appoint members to the Board of Education of Special Services School District and the Vocational School District of the County of Salem, Leslie White Corsi. A2, resolution adopting a corrective action plan for the 2023 report of audit for the County of Salem. A3, resolution revising a non-fair and open contract between Effect TV and the County of Salem for commercial advertising on cable television. A4, resolution awarding a contract under the New Jersey State Approved Contract 88679-T-0640 for fencing installation and replacement. A5, resolution awarding a contract under the New Jersey State Approved Contract 42261-T-0849 for the above ground fuel tanks, associated equipment installation, tank removal, and system services. A6, resolution amending resolution 2024-055, awarding a professional services contract for railroad engineering services to Pinoni Associates, Inc. And A7, resolution acknowledging support for its employees in the course of its jail regionalization process.
Commissioners, you've heard the reading of these 7 resolutions. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Director, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt these 7 resolutions.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Director.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just want to emphasize A7, as we grapple with all the decisions we're making as regards to proposed regional correctional facility. It is heartening that employees have heard the issues we're dealing with and have indicated a willingness to work with us. So I really thank them for that.
And there was some concern about, different parts, whether we would have their backs, and basically that's what this resolution is saying, we have their backs in this regional jail. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. They are passed unanimous. Agricultural Public Safety.
B1, resolution amending resolution number 2024-461, accepting federal fiscal year 2024 sub-grant award for the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety Division of State Police Office of Emergency Management for Emergency Management Performance Grant number FY24 EMPG EMAA-1700 CFDA:97.042 in the amount of $55,000.
Commissioners heard the reading of that resolution. Your pleasure.
Mr. Director, given the intricacy of the reading of that resolution, I certainly think we should make a motion to adopt.
And I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Passed unanimous. Health and Human Services.
E1, resolution approving an agreement between the Salem County Department of Health and Human Services and Southern Jersey Family Medical Centers, Inc. E2, resolution accepting and executing the New Jersey Division of Mental Health and Addiction Services block grant for 2024-2025, and authorizing the signing of the letter of agreement between the Governor's Council on Substance Use Disorder and the County of Salem. E3, resolution approving the submission of a proposal to the New Jersey Department of Human Services Division of Aging Services to apply for the 2025 area plan grant. E4, resolution acknowledging the standard board resolution form from the New Jersey Department of Human Services for the Medicare Improvements for Patients and Providers Act. E5, resolution acknowledging the business associate agreement from the New Jersey Department of Human Services for the Medicare Improvements for Patients and Providers Act.
Commissioners, here's the reading of these 5 resolutions. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Director, I'd like to make a motion to approve these 5 resolutions as read, sir.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Director.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Passed unanimous. Public Works.
F1, resolution issuing change order number 38 to the contract for courthouse addition and alterations to the existing courthouse and administration buildings. F2, resolution issuing change order number 39 to the contract for courthouse additions and alterations to the existing courthouse and administration buildings. F3, resolution awarding a professional services contract for Auburn Road, County Road 602 for the design and permitting of stormwater management improvements for the County of Salem. F4, resolution prohibiting normal traffic along Perkintown Road, County Road 644 in Oldens Township for the construction of a new bridge over New Jersey Interstate Route 295. F5, resolution authorizing Amendment B to the 2024 professional services contract for railroad engineering services with Pinoni Associates, Inc. And F6, resolution declaring an emergency to permit immediate acquisition of goods and/or services to remediate and repair collapse of roadway, crosspipe, Jericho Road, County Road 626, Quinton Township, New Jersey.
Commissioners, you've heard the reading of these 6 resolutions. Your pleasure.
Mr. Director, I'll motion to adopt these 6 resolutions.
I'll second that motion. Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
When we approve resolutions for Pointers Auburn Road, they give us a start date and also an expected duration. Right? Do you have any idea when you're going to start off?
That's a year project. They have to give notice. We're going to start next year because they have to give a certain amount of time notice before they start. Yeah. But it's a whole, it can run for up to a year.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
Any other discussion?
Long delay.
The courthouse phase 2 should be complete at the end of this month, beginning of next. There's not much left at the end of this month. It's a $33+ million project that's coming to completion. I really think we ought to have some sort of written guide with some of the other commissioners who spent a lot of taxpayers' money on let them know it's finished. So we got a lot of grants to help us. It'd be nice to also recognize those that chipped in, helped, and brought this to fruition. Talk with Jeff, Stacy, talk with Jeff, see if we come up with an idea when they're going to finish. Running jokers in 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. It's all that's 2 weeks. So, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Chapter 159.
H1, resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the budget pursuant to NJSA 48:4-87, Chapter 159, Public Law 1948, 2425, DMHAS Block Grant, H2, 2024 NJED Winport Grant, and H3, Fiscal Year 25 Cooperative Marketing Grant.
Commissioners, you've heard the reading of these 3 resolutions. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Director, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt these 3 resolutions.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Director.
Thank you. I have a motion second. Any discussion on 159?
Yeah, I just want to express our gratitude to the New Jersey Economic Development Administration for their continued support for our economic development department.
Yep. And I understand that whole staff in the county is doing a great job.
And tomorrow, just for that, at 11:30 in the Rays will be the annual countywide economic development retreat meeting, luncheon, which is put on by the department and is an invite to all 15 municipalities. It's very well attended in previous years, so we expect the same again.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Passed unanimous. Commissioners, do we have any old business? Any new business?
Yes,
Mr. Director, I do have new business.
This happened fairly quickly, so I apologize for not keeping everybody in the loop. I have to talk to Ben and Mickey, but I was able to get the food bank of South Jersey, and specifically Steve Johnson from the Pentecostal Church on 22 Market, and Restelli's together, and she distributes a fair amount of food to the people of Salem City because it is a designated food desert. But Restelli's has stepped in, and their entire empire is moving to Salem County. They're bringing everything from down to the warehouses here on 40. So all of Restelli's now live in Hillsborough Township. So they were looking to do some public work here, some philanthropy. So I got Sunita together and a couple other people that she designated with the Rastellis up at their office last Wednesday in Pure Land. And starting next Wednesday, and this is just the first part of this project that we're starting, Rastellis will be delivering 300 to 500 meals every Wednesday to Sunita to deliver. And she has the infrastructure to get the food out there. That's the first step. The Rastellis mostly deals in meats. They do have a lot of partners in Pure Land, and so the next step would be to load up the truck that's leaving from there with also bakery items, vegetables, things like that, so that there's more complete meals that are going out. And then to follow, we're also going to try to include Pensgrove in that once we get some sort of distribution set up in Pensgrove. And then the last thing we want to do is model, and I'm gonna talk to Inspire about this, but model a mobile grocery store that they've done it virtual. And what they did is they bought SEPTA buses and they cleaned out the SEPTA buses and they built aisles on either side of the SEPTA bus. You walk right down the middle of it. You come in one side, walk down the middle, you go out the other side, and they take snap and wick and everything, and you just drive to Salem City one day and open it up. And you drive to Pensgrove the next day and open it up, and wherever else it can go. So I think that's a worthwhile project over the next year that Rastellis is interested in helping us with.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah, so that's all going to be nice. Next Wednesday is the first delivery of food. Everybody's invited from 1 to 3 at St. John's Pentecost.
And you said they did find a site in Salem County to move everything?
Yeah, their 3-year plan is to have everything located in Salem County, the entire of this Rastellis empire. All the distribution and everything. It was interesting. I went and toured their area, and that Ray Rastelli Jr. Sort of gave me the spiel. Any guesses how many pounds of meat they send out of there every month? 1.5 million pounds a month. 200 trucks. So one truck, which is what they're sending down here, is nothing.
They get their meat from Brazil or where?
All over the world.
A lot of it's domestic.
Until they had some of their farms out west.
That I don't know. Yeah, I didn't ask any of those types of questions. I do know they supply all our military.
And they did find a site in Salem?
Yeah, on 40.
On 40?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which one is the other one?
Don't. I know they just set up in South Harrison. There's a couple of refrigerated spots that they rented out. But again, they want their whole operation in Salem right on 40 right there. So, yeah, it's a great win for us, the county, to have them here. And they're very interested in philanthropy. I know they've met with Dave Bailey. Dave Bailey's also aware of this project, and he'll be around next Wednesday. So we got everybody in Salem County together and working on this.
Well, 1 to 3 p.m. next Wednesday at the St. John's Pentecost.
1 to 3, yes, sir.
Commissioners, any other new business? Commissioners, public announcements? I got a couple here, Ben.
Tomorrow there's a Hurricane Helene donation drive from 5 to 9 in Woodstown at the Ware Building. Again, I announced this last time, but I think this is so great. The Glass Menagerie is playing this weekend in Woodstown at what's that called? I just call it Frank's Place.
Also known as
the Opera House. Yeah, the Opera House. Yeah, the Woodstown Opera House. The trains are running from brewery to brewery, and they're gonna starting this Saturday. That's maybe they are.
Every time I talk to them, they say they've been sold out.
It's woodstowncentral.com. That's where you get your tickets if you want to go.
Saying they sold 10,000 tickets in an hour or something like that.
We did it last year. It was a lot of fun. My kids and I did it last year. It was great. There's a turkey giveaway on Monday, November 25th at Mount Zion Baptist Church here in Salem. I wish Patty was here. I there's so much of this stuff to talk about. The Cowtown Auburn Covered Wagon Tour, the holiday tour, is Friday, November 29th. Auburn Road Vineyard and Winery is where it starts. That sounds kind of cool too.
Yeah, Greg's got his wagon. So we can,
I think that'll do it. Anything else? That's good.
Someone's in there is the Salem County American Legion Band is going to be at the FCC. It's early in December. Special Nauer, they do a great job doing the American Band. Any other public announcements? Hearing none. Any comments from the public? Anybody on the comments?
I hope there are people listening for some of these announcements, like the churches and so forth.
Our next meeting is December 4th at 6 p.m. right here. Same time. So fasten your seatbelts, we're coming.
Same bat time, same batch.
That's it. We do have a short closed session, probably 10 minutes, hopefully. And when we come out, we will have no motions other than to adjourn. Anticipate it.
Starting now. Go.
Resolution authorizing executive session County of Salem matters relating to litigation negotiations and the